Okay. Hello, everybody. We are still waiting for people to join the session, but we're glad that you have already arrived. So this is the Volunteer in Estonia 2021 event. It's the 9th event in this networking event series that we call the Jumpstart Your Career in Estonia. Why we call it the 2021 event is because we held a very similar webinar last December. So it's like the Vol 2 of this type of events. But in principle, we've been organizing such networking events throughout the past year. And the purpose of these is to bring together students and nonprofit organizations and businesses, so to enable positive networking between the parties, to help students get some new experiences for their CV, hopefully find a future employer, or to find a chance to do some volunteer work during your studies in Estonia. And this project, or this event series, it's supported by the European Union through this Asylum, Migration and Integration Fund, and also the Estonian Ministry of Interior. So they are the financial supporters of this project. But I come from the Institute of Baltic Studies. We are a think tank in Tartu, Estonia, non-profit organizations ourselves. And I'm here today with my colleagues, Anna-Kaisa and Maria, who will help me to manage this event with you. So we're very pleased to have you here today. And just to go over some of the details, we ask you to be very active in this session. We are organizing these events for you, the students. So you can use the chat function on Zoom, or after the presentations of our speakers, you can turn on your microphone and camera to ask your questions. So this is your chance to ask the things that interest you from our speakers. The event is also recorded, just for you to know. And we will be also using the chat function to share different links with you, links about the companies or the organizations that are presenting, but also some other useful links about the follow-up activities after this webinar today. So here are the speakers that we have lined up. So we have Tallinn Music Week and Tuuli Dmitrieva. So Tuuli, you're welcome to show yourself to the audience. We also have Annette Helleri from Vivita and Hele Maasi from UFU. So all 3 different events and organizations that will be speaking about volunteering opportunities in their structures. So we're very pleased to have you here and thank you for joining us. And then we also have Elisa Russo, who's a former student who has volunteered while studying in Estonia. So we will also have an interview with her at the end of the event, so that she will share her own personal reflections on why it was good to volunteer while studying and how it has helped her further her career. Also about the students, for our speakers to know that we had 84 registered students to the event. And it was a pretty diverse background in terms of studies. So there were different students from innovation and technology management, from different business management programs, but also from IT engineering and so on. So this is not an exhaustive list. It's a pretty diverse list. And I think it very well exemplifies what volunteering is about. I mean, usually in case of volunteering, your field of studies is not as crucial as in working experience. And rather you can go and you know, be involved in an activity that is dear to your heart, and you know, volunteer your time to assist with these things. And going further with our program, we will have the next speaker coming from Vivita, which is an international network of these creative accelerators, and they work with the youths or kids. But before we show a presentation, I'm going to share a video with you. Hopefully this will work as well.
We're always told what we can't do. That we're too small. We're too young. We're just kids. But Vivita is different. Here, being kids is what makes us great. It's a connected community that's free, to let us think, explore, and create whatever we dream. We can sew our own clothes. We can design our own drones, create our own robots, build our own roller coaster. We can make music. We can dance, make our own masterpiece. And we can make friends from everywhere in the world. This isn't a school. No teachers, no curriculum, just a whole bunch of ideas. Kids' ideas. To help make the world that much better. That much brighter. We're the world's thinkers, inventors, creators, and leaders. We're building the future right now at Vivita.
Okay, and now I would like to invite Annette Helleri to join us on screen to tell us more about the opportunities and how you can become a part of the Vivita team.
So yes, hello. I will be sharing a screen with you right in a second.
Yes, it works.
So perfect. So yes, I will be talking about Vivita today to you. Vivita is a creativity accelerator for children and youth. And my name is Annette Helleri-Lind. I'm doing communications and the community actually in Vivita, but I'm also like doing the volunteers, like I'm coordinating the volunteers as well. And I'm doing the international branding as well for the other Vivi stops that we have. So Vivita is yes, an accelerator for 8 to 15-year-old kids. And it is like a new concept of a future founder wonderland for innovations. And right now, at this moment, we are working in 8 countries. So specifically in Japan, in Estonia, in Lithuania, in Philippines, in Singapore, in Hawaii, and in New Zealand. Some of you maybe are from this country, so it would be lovely to hear from you when you are. And yes, right now, so it all started in Japan, but the headquarters are right now here in Tallinn in Estonia. So as Vivita is like the whole concept, then the Vivistops, as where I am right now as well, are the innovation studios for kids for learning and innovating. Yes, so this is where we are in Tallinn. So we are in this area over here, and left is Vivistop Telliskivi, and it's in Telliskivi, which is a creativity hub. As Tuuli also mentioned earlier, then that we made a collaboration with them this summer. So the kids made a festival, like a part of the kids festival for themselves. So it was a really nice success, and it was really lovely to see that the kids could be a part of organizing at a festival. So there were like 8 to 9 kids that were like creating the festival together with Tallinn Music Week. So we have a lot of partners as well in Tallinn, in the whole Estonia, with a lot of startups, with government, with a lot of other companies. And it's, yeah, so I will briefly be talking about our missions. So one of our most important missions is to provide a creative learning environment for children. So as to say, as you also saw from the video, we are not a school, or we like to not to define us as a school. We would like to give the children the freedom to make their ideas happen and become a reality. So, and for the second mission, it would be to develop the 21st century creative tools and platform for children. So in this Vivistop, where I am right now as well, we have different tools. We have 3D printers, we have laser cutter, we have soldering kits. The kids can cook by themselves. We have wood area station where the kids can do different ideas. And then our third mission would be to build a global community of creative children. So as we're speaking right now, we are working in 8 countries, and we have approximately 1,000+ kids who have joined Vivita. And it's really nice to see that as it is voluntarily, not though it is really lovely to see that the kids come here voluntarily as well, and they really like working here and making their ideas come true. And with the fourth mission is to give power to all the kids. So as I also mentioned earlier, Vivistop is free of charge for all the kids who want to join us in the mentioned countries that I mentioned before. And yes, so it is a place where the kids can come after their school activities, and they can be in this thing that we call free flow, where they can make their ideas make happen. And then we have different workshops. We are collaborating with different companies from Estonia, from Europe, and as we are a global organization, so also from other global companies. And we also collaborate really often with other Vivistops as well. So I will briefly be talking about volunteering opportunities as well. So the free flow that I mentioned earlier is an activity which happens from Tuesday to Friday, from 2 p.m. until 6 p.m. So this is the time where kids come and they just come here. We have a set of tools, we have the materials, we have basically everything they need when it comes to their ideas. And we don't have anything that they would like to have in their projects as well. So then we can discuss the project, and we can give them the materials and necessary tools. Then we have occasional workshops. Especially right now in this COVID time, we have made fewer workshops because due to the pandemic situation. But before the COVID time, we had many workshops a week. So I would say basically every day, or twice or 3 times a week. So then in these workshops, especially, the volunteers would be really needed in order to have an extra pair of hands, or we will give you pictures to do, or short videos to film, or sometimes we just need help. Since our team is our Estonian team consists only of 10 members. So an extra pair of hands always comes handy. And I would say that right now in our team, two members of our team have also started as being a volunteer, and now they are working as working in our team as well. 1 second. Yeah, sorry, I was interrupted. And it's really lovely to see that the team members have grown from being a volunteer. So they have also said that they have seen the both ways, like how they were here as a volunteer and how they can approach volunteers right now as they are the team member. So then we have the program called Vista, which is an idea to prototype program, which now has a second batch happening right now. It is a 10-week program where we have, so right now in the second batch, we have 14 kids with 13 ideas. And its goal is within those 10 weeks that the kids actually, they come here to Vivita with their idea. And then during those 10 weeks, we end up with a prototype. So right now we're exactly in the 6th week. So it's really nice to see that the ideas have started to become a prototype. And yes, so in the end of January, there will be a demo day where all the vistas, as we call them, the kids who participate in the program, they share their ideas or their prototypes to all of us. So right now, it's this Saturday is the last. It's the last Vista Saturday this year, but starting from January, we still have a month to go. So this Vista program is happening on Saturdays where the help will be needed. And there will be social media help, media help overall, like filming, making photos, and also like prototyping with the kids as well. So there are a lot of prototypes. So if you're interested, you can check out vista.vivita.ee, and there are all the kids with their ideas. So you can definitely check it up. And also quite an important thing to mention as a volunteer or becoming a volunteer in Vivita is that we have a multilingual environment. So I would say that most of the kids who come here, they either speak English or some other kind of language as their mother language, or they speak Estonian usually, most of the time since we are in Estonia. But here coming to Vivita, and as you are the international students, it's not a problem at all, since we all can communicate in English, and it's a really nice way to communicate. So this is not like that here are only Estonian speaking kids. And also what I would like to add is that skills are not so important. So as I mentioned earlier, we have the 3D printer, we have the laser cutter, we have different types of tools. It's not that important. More important is to set an example for children and to learn together with them. So as it was also mentioned in the video, we here in the team, we are specialists. We are not the teachers. So when the kids come here at school, they have to refer to the teacher as a teacher, Mr. and Mrs. And but here it's just so my name is Anette, and they just come here and they're like the new kids. I can recognize that they're like, hey teacher, can you come and help me? But then we like here we try to specify that we are like on the same level, and the kids are that we're equal with the kids. And I would also like to, so next slide, examples of being a volunteer in Vivita. So here on the picture we have a group of Vistas from the second batch, as I mentioned earlier. And here in the middle we have Carlo, who is actually a chef from Fotografiska, which is also here in Telliskivi, and we are in great partnership with them. And Carlo started also as a volunteer, so he came cooking here with the kids, and now he is actually coming to Vivista once a week to cook with the kids or with team, and like to share his knowledge about cooking. And it's a really nice nice way to or an example about him. Then we also, I don't have a picture unfortunately, but We also have Cindy, who works in Verif, in one of the company there is in Estonia, and she is helping with the summer camps and helps with media. And she has a Baltic Film Media School background, so she usually comes here once or twice a week and helps to film the videos that, for example, we have one day in Vista, and then she films the little behind the scenes clips that we then afterwards edit together. So yes. So I will kindly ask Mart to share the questionnaire, so then you can fill the application, and you can fill it right now even. We are very happy to welcome you to Vivita. Right now we have approximately 60 to 70 volunteers, and yes, you can definitely fill the application form. And you can also follow us on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook, and you can visit our website, vivita.ee. So yes, this is everything from me. Thank you. I'm open to any questions.
Yes, thank you, Annette. And I'm always excited to hear about Vivita, because it's such a, I know, I wish there had been something similar when I was younger, so that I would have gone to this creative space and not be so worried about the hierarchies of education and so on. I did see that we have some questions coming in, so I would invite my colleague Anna-Kaisa to join us on screen again, and we will take the questions through chat, and you can also raise the virtual hand in Zoom so that we can give you the right to speak as well. So Anna-Kaisa, I think your camera...
Yes, we had a question about, are there also any online volunteers in Vivita, or you have to be in Thailand?
We actually, there was a really nice example actually with the COVID, or one of the good examples is that we had many Zoom webinars as well and workshops through Zoom. And there we actually had quite many volunteers joining us there. So right now, since we can like physically be together, yes, you can participate online as well, but then we just have to like solve the technical issues there is. But I would say there is a possibility to join through this way as well.
As you mentioned, you have quite a lot of volunteers. Do you have any criteria, or do you have like a maximum limit of volunteers? What are the main criteria you're looking for when you're looking for a volunteer?
So we have also quite, we have volunteers with quite a different background. And as we have, yes, like 60 to 70 volunteers, but they are all not, they're not able to come to Vivistop every day. Some volunteers are only coming once every 3 months. Some volunteers are working daily, so they can only come on weekends. So by filling in the application form, we see like what is your background, and then we can move on to some more tasks that we can give you.
Do you also need any previous experience in order to volunteer?
Yes, that's a great question. I believe right now we actually have more people who have not, or maybe it's equal. I'm just saying a presumption that you don't have to have a previous volunteer experience. You can just come to Vivistop, meet with our team, meet with the kids, and then just meet with the studio, because we have quite many machines, and just to meet with the Vivitas concept. And then it's just, you can just, I'm inviting all you to come here and meet us, and just let us know how you feel about us. So yes.
So if I understood correctly, the main thing is to use that Google form that we also shared to get in touch with you and then to come to your premises to meet with you and see how they could become part of this Vivita team as a volunteer. You did mention that skills are not as important, that you are looking mostly for the will to be involved and just to be a role model for the kids. But nonetheless, are there any specific skills you are looking for, like communication specialists or some other chefs that you would want to join your team? Anything specific that you might be looking for?
I would say we are open to all the ideas actually, because since we have a rather small team, and we have a team who with designers, and we have communications specialists, but we are open to any skills that that you might have, and also like we have a great examples that the volunteers have also made their own workshops, so where they share their knowledge. We have also entrepreneurs who have come to Vivita and shared their knowledge, which is also a form of volunteer work. And so I would say many like technical skills, design skills. Yes, just I think the most important part that we're looking for is for the person who comes to Vivita, that he or she is open to learn and open to new opportunities.
Great. Anna-Kaisa, do we still have some questions in the chat?
I think all are answered. So thank you very much, Anna-Kaisa.
Thank you.
Anna-Kaisa. And Annette, maybe just the last question, because you did mention that you're very international and you have those teams across 8 countries. Do I understand correctly that potentially if a student is from this country and they go back home, they could still be part of your team?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. We also are telling our kids that, for example, when you're living in Estonia, but you're going to travel to Japan, for instance, then you can go to Japan's Vivistop. You have the access since you are a member of our Vivita community. So like right now, I think it's especially good for international students as well. I don't know if there are any from these countries that I mentioned that we have Vivistops, but it's like a global community that we have here, and it's not only working in Estonia. It's like, yes, it's global. So definitely, it's a possibility.
Great. Thank you for that, and thank you for your presentation. Again, we have the details in the chat to get in touch. We are now moving on to our third speaker from UFO Estonia. So Hele, you are welcome to join on screen. And UFO stands for Youth for Understanding, which is one of the world's oldest the sort of youth exchange organizations. So please, Hele, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I will share my screen with you as well. Okay, I hope you can all hear me well.
Yes, it works.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. As Mark already mentioned, I'm from YFU. It's short for Youth for Understanding. Yeah, okay. So as Mark already mentioned, we are exchanging youth or offering them a program to go abroad for a year. It's mostly for high school students, but our volunteers are from all the ages. I'm gonna be talking about the history a bit because it's quite important for why we are doing what we are doing. So YFU was founded after World War II, firstly between the United States and Germany, to show the youth that the world is not so bad and the people living in those countries are not as bad, as that they don't have to fight with each other. And Rachel Anderson was the one who founded the YFU, but now in 2021 we are already in about 60 countries. And YFU Estonia was founded in 1992, so we will be celebrating our 30th birthday next year. We do have offices in Tallinn and in Tartu, but we mostly work all over Estonia. So whenever you are, you can help us out one way or another. As it comes from the history, we mostly focus on how to support tolerant and culturally diverse worldview in society, and we do want our members to be active in society as well. So we really encourage them to be active in their personal life, or they can try to do different stuff in YFE Estonia. So for our volunteers, we can basically offer anything that they want to do, but I'm going to be talking about this in a bit. So we do have two different types of volunteers. We have supporting members, and then we have active members. We do have about 590 members altogether, but they're not all active. And right now, this year, we had about 130 active volunteers. Sorry, okay. And how you can become a volunteer, or who are the volunteers in Estonia? Most of our volunteers are previous exchange students. So after they come back from their exchange year, they have a follow-up camp where they get the information about how to become a volunteer, and they also get the information about this from the YFU network. Then we have previous host families who usually come to YFU via personal contacts and also via YFU network. By YFU network, I mean the web page that we have and also our social media platforms. Then we also have internship. Internship is a bit different than the rest of the volunteers because they do get paid monthly, and also they do get the free transportation. Our interns are usually not from Estonia, and mostly they come from YFU network. So we shout out that we are looking for an intern, and 10 other YFUs share the information to their volunteers, and then they can come to Estonia for some period of time. Usually the intern chooses their own time that they can be in Estonia. It can be either a month or a year or 2 years. And yes, and then we have other volunteers who are usually don't have previous YFU history, and also the opportunities for these volunteers come via YFU networking. And we also offer community practice for high school students, so they can do part of their studies as a volunteer in YFU Estonia. Then, since I mentioned before, the volunteers in YFU Estonia can do basically anything they want to do. Just come here and we will find the funding for it or the team for you, and you can make it happen. So to frame it a little bit, I'm gonna talking about some experiences that some of the volunteers have had here. So we have Jose, who is from Paraguay. Since Jose is really into working with volunteers and human people, he decided that he wants to develop the volunteer part in YFU Estonia. So he actually started as an intern here in the beginning of this year. And he started to, so his idea was to make the volunteers' life better. So he actually decided to talk with the volunteers to figure out what are the good parts or the bad parts about being a volunteer in Estonia. And he was the one who figured out ways on how to develop it, how to make our volunteers' life better. And after a few months, he actually got a job here fully, and he decided to do a training for the volunteers. Usually we have like tens of trainings each year, and it's really hard for our volunteers to go to all of them. So he made one big like training event, and it was a huge success. And it's also on the left picture here that you can see. On the right picture, Jose was leading the volunteer gala. The gala is for all the active volunteers to thank them for the job that they were doing. And Jose was also part of doing this. As a volunteer in YFU Estonia, you can either be the leader of the group or be part of a team. Jose is a big personality and he was the leader of the group. So he came up with all the ideas and just put together a team and made it happen. And then we had Petra from Austria. She also started out as an intern, and Petra was more of a team member, not a leader. So Petra was helping out mostly the other volunteers with like preparation work, and also she helped out in the office. So Petra was mostly talking with the students who want to go abroad, talking about what do they have to do for it, so helping out with this process. And also helping out with smaller office events like office meetings and so on. And on the left picture, there are all the office members that we have at the moment. We went camping, and also Petra was the one who helped out with organizing this event. And then, as I mentioned before, the volunteers can do basically everything they want. So Petra and some other volunteers decided that we have to do something good in Estonia. So they wanted to do toys for animal shelters. And we have different trainings all the time. So they decided that they're going to put making toys as one part of the training for volunteers, so they can like clear their minds and then go to the next training. And on the right picture, there are the shelter animals playing with the toys that they made. And of course, the shelter was really thankful for this. And Petra was the leader of this. At the moment, we already are looking for volunteers for different jobs. One bigger opportunity that we have at the moment is planning the Winter Games. The Winter Games are for our inbound students, so students who come to Estonia to spend their residence year here. The Winter Games is made for the students to like more dive into the Estonian culture. So it's virtual, so you can figure out all the tasks that they have to do, and then later on they can upload the picture to Google Drive or whatever platform we are deciding to use. Here are some pictures from last year. They had to make a picture in front of Estonian school. They had to find or make a picture with the Estonian animal, and here you can see the footprints of a wolf. That's Estonian national animal. And then they had to cook Estonian dinner, Estonian dish, and here they're making black bread. So this is really a fun opportunity, and we are also putting together a bigger team who will come up with the ideas. And since all of our inbound students speak English, then the game also can be in English. And then all the time we are looking for some, we offer some smaller opportunities. We really are looking forward on someone who is interested in making videos, because we do take part of many different yeah, I don't know how to say it in English, so I will just be moving on. So we are making different videos and sharing them in all of our platforms. So it would be really nice if you would like to make a video about our volunteers or our students or whatever. And then we also started our own TikTok. So we are always looking for someone who would like to do TikToks. for this because we feel like the office crew is a bit not too old, but not really active on TikTok and don't really know how to do them. And then we are sending out a lot of information for our members and some cards. So we do always have to have someone who would like to use Canva. So it's like a tool where you can, two posts, for example. So on the right, there's a birthday card that we are sending out now, but we would really like to get the new one. So we are looking for someone who can do these pictures. And we are all the time looking for someone who would come up with new ideas like, yeah, let's make a training about nonviolent communication or something, and we can put together a team and make it happen. Since we do want to make a difference in the world and do want to yes, make people more tolerant and share our ideas. So this is what we are looking for all the time. To be a supporting member, you have to be younger than 26, but you can be an active member, whatever age you are. But the thing with active member is that you have to be part of one sort of group, either the media, the inbound students, or the students who will go out from Estonia, or to support families here in Estonia, or to teach languages for whatever groups. So to be an active member, you do have to be part of a group. And how to get the information, so how to become a volunteer, or how to know what opportunities we have at the moment. We do post them on YPU homepage, so ypu.ee. But most of the information still goes around in the mailing list and the social media. So to get the information, you can become a member by just emailing us. Or if you don't want to become a member but still want to get the information, then you can also just email, and we can add you to the social media groups where the information mostly flows. Yes, do you have any questions for me?
Yes, thank you, Helle, for the presentation. Anna-Kaisa, you're welcome to join me on screen once again to take the questions from the audience.
Yes, we have one question from the audience. If they also have IFU in their home country, can they still join the Estonian IFU, or do you have any kind of rules about that?
No, actually, you can do volunteer work or work at all in YFU Estonia wherever you are, because we do have many different opportunities to do things online, but also if you are in like different countries, you can also be part of this country's YFU, because it might be just easier because you can then go to the office there. But yeah, it doesn't matter where you are, you can always do something here.
Thank you. Also about the location. So where can you actually do the volunteer work? And is there also an opportunity to do it in online?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, you can basically do everything everywhere. For the things that are happening in real life, so not via Zoom, they are mostly in Tallinn or Tartu. But we do have some like training weekends or like fun activities around Estonia. Like last week, we were really in the south of Estonia to do mental health training. So we're always looking forward for someone who can help out with these events as well. So basically all you have to do is write an email on what are your interests in, where we are located on. So we will always find something for you to do.
You mentioned the working groups of active members, like for example, media, etc., etc. Can you please provide some examples? Do you have like mapped out all the working groups, or how many of them do you have?
Yes, so we have basically about 5 bigger groups, and then we have some smaller groups. So we have the host families, then we have the inbound students, so the students who are coming to Estonia. Then we have the outbound students, so the students who are going out from Estonia. Then we have the media, and then we have development. I am responsible for the development part, and development also includes the scholarships and talking with our partners.
Yes, and there is one question about the time. Do you have any preference, like how many hours or how much time should a volunteer give you as an organization?
Yeah, no, the hours different since we have about 130 active volunteers. Of course, not all of them are doing work weekly because we don't have as much jobs to give them. We do have volunteers who do like 2 hours a year, just like help out with one event. But at the same time, we have volunteers who are doing something weekly. So yeah, it really depends from the person and the timetable that they have, and also from the responsibility that they have. Because if you are a leader of a group, you do have to be always there for your team. So yeah, I would say it is takes approximately, I don't know, 3 hours a week or something. But as a member of the group, of course, it's way smaller.
And to finish out, can you please explain once more to highlight how do you apply as a volunteer? Should they just send you an email or what's the process?
Yes, just send an email. I want to become a volunteer, and then we send the contract about how to become a volunteer, and then that's it. Basically, just write an email and then talk about what is it that you want to do. Of course, if you want to become an intern, then you do have to send a CV as well, but then we will talk more via email.
Thank you, Anna-Kaisa, for moderating the questions in the chat, and I'm happy to see that there were so many questions coming in from the students. Also, thank you, Hela, for providing this overview of what Youth for Understanding does in Estonia and what are the various opportunities. And indeed, besides volunteering, you also offer interning opportunities. So it's definitely good to know, and it was very a pleasure to have you here today. We are now moving to the last bit of this event, and I would like to invite also Eliza Russu to join me on screen, because today we have so far talked about opportunities to volunteer in concrete organizations in Estonia, but maybe we've touched less upon why to volunteer at all. And so in this last segment, we're gonna talk with Eliza about her volunteering experience as a foreign student during her studies in Estonia. So welcome, Eliza. How are you?
Hi. I hope you can hear me. Hi,
Yes.
I'm fine. It's really nice to be here, and also I came earlier to hear about the speeches that the other organization had to tell. It's really interesting. I'm gonna say beforehand, I never participated to any of them, so I cannot relate to what they said.
Yeah, but you have volunteered elsewhere. But before we get to that, maybe just a bit of context, where you come from and what did you study or what are you doing now?
So I came from Moldova. I was born there, and I came to Estonia after high school to get my bachelor degree at the University of Tartu. I was majoring in business administration, and now I am currently living in Tallinn. I have a job here in an IT company called Glia. So you can get a job after you finish with studies. I can guarantee you.
But what about your volunteering experience during your studies? So where did you volunteer?
So I volunteered in ESN Tartu, so Erasmus Student Network. I can also write in the chat if people want to Google it later. So ESN Tartu, and 15 by 4, also Tartu. Okay, 15 by 4, Tartu. So these are the two organizations that I was most active in, let's say like this.
And why did you decide to be involved in these organizations? Like, why did you decide to volunteer? I mean, having been a student myself, it's already quite laborious and time-consuming. Why did you decide to volunteer?
So when I just came to Estonia, I was really young. I came to a different country. My English wasn't so good. So honestly, volunteering wasn't the first thing on my mind. I just wanted to survive. But there was different events for international students organized by ESN Tartu. And later I got to know that all these events are organized by one organization. And also I was chit-chatting with the organizers of the event, and they told me that, we also have this trip to Lapland and to Russia, and we get to send one volunteer for free to take care of the student group. And I'm like, oh my God, I gotta go there. So my reasons were a little bit corrupted by this idea, because I really wanted to travel. So that's why I got to go to the ESN Tartu. And then when I came there, I found out that I had no volunteering experience. I mean, like when I was back in my home country, I did some small volunteering in school, but nothing in Estonia, nothing in English with international students. And they told me that actually I can take ownership over an event and be the main organizer, and just picking the team myself. And I'm like, oh, that actually sounds so good, because business administration, this is what I need. I need to gain the skills, like organizational skills, like communication skills, like budgeting the event. So I'm like, okay, this is a jackpot. So this is why and how I ended up in ESN Tartu. And then a year later, a friend of mine told me about this organization, 15 by 4, that is, it's basically a scientific project. They do an event once a month or something like this, where they gather 4 speakers, and each of them, they have 15 minutes to present a scientific topic. It can be anything, like, I don't know, about like growing plants, cats, I don't know, monogamistic relationship in animal world, and so on. But it needs to be scientific. But there was none in Estonia. It was in Ukraine, in Germany, some other countries. And then my friends who told me about this were like, okay, like, why can't we do it in Tartu, in Estonia? So basically we just started everything from scratch and I don't want to say that it was easy. It was challenging because we were international. We didn't know Estonian. We had to find sponsorship by ourselves, money for the events and so on. But it was really fun to do because, again, I was majoring in business and I needed to know how organization works. And it was like, I don't know, it was really, really something that I needed. So yeah.
I really like that you both got the experience of going to an already existing organization to get volunteering experience, but then you also decided to set up an organization yourself with a group of friends, and you did something locally and bringing some benefits to the local student community for that time period in this 15 times 4. So that's really nice to hear. And what I loved about what you were explaining is the empowerment, or that the opportunity that this ESN Tartu gave you to be in charge of an event yourself, which is, I guess, a great opportunity as a young person, to be given responsibility and to try, challenge yourself in this situation. Which leads me to my next question, which is basically, what were the benefits that you saw that you got out of these volunteering experiences?
So there are short-term benefits and long-term. So short-term is obviously that I had a bunch of fun. Like this events that we organize, like there are not only like to share the knowledge, but there are also like parties, like, I don't know, ESN welcome party, Halloween party, also like I don't know, beer pong, karaoke, where you get to know a lot of people because it's an international community. So I got to know like Spanish culture because I was hanging out with Spanish people and Germans and so on. So I got to travel a lot inside Estonia and like outside Estonia. So these are the short-term benefits. And then the long-term benefits, I really got the skills that I I knew I have to know, but I didn't know how to get them. So these are again like the communication skills, because when you work with people, organizing something, it's always challenging. So the communication skills, there's a lot of miscommunication, and you need to see it beforehand and like predict it or so on. And then the organization ones is like, when I was the main organizer, I need to know how to organize my team, like what I can do, and then what to delegate to other people. And then there's like the budgeting. So these are the things that I basically made a small startup, you know, like I needed to know how to do this. And this is like, the skills that I gained was like really useful later now at my job. And also I got to know a lot about myself that I didn't know when I was like younger. For example, I like to be on the stage. So, and I was invited to be like the moderator of events, even though I wasn't the main organizer. I was just like, they asked me to be there. It was really fun because I got to present myself as a trustworthy person, and it like the word went by and they're like, okay, we need the Lisa in our team. And then networking. Oh my God. I loved it. It's like, it helped me at the spot when I needed it, when I was part of the organizations. Like, I don't even know how to explain. Like, for example, I wanted to go to this Lapland trip, and I made a good relationship inside the organization, and they said, oh, she's good, you know, like you can trust her. She's gonna do a good job. So because somebody put a word from me, that the vice president or whoever, like, okay, maybe I need to take a look at her application, you know? So, and then later when I graduated university, I was done with the volunteering. Even this one, you know, like my friend asked me to come and talk to you guys, or like, it's like a lot, like people now see that they got to know me when I was a student, and now after I moved on, they still keep in touch with me to ask me for different favors, or like to invite me somewhere, or like to offer me to participate in the project. So it's like, it's just priceless.
Yeah, I really like this, that you bring the example of how really volunteering like one thing leads to another, and it opens up new opportunities. So this is definitely why we're also organizing this event, to encourage to take a chance on volunteering, find something that you care about, something you could be involved in, and it can really bring out wonderful things. But to follow up on this, do you see it impacting any way your studies or your further career after studies, the experience you got from volunteering?
I would say yes, and I'm gonna explain. So it's the thing that you start studying, or the thing that you start volunteering at, it doesn't mean that you're gonna do it all your life. For example, okay, I graduated business, but it doesn't necessarily mean I'm gonna be a CEO, you know? I just like to work in this area. Like, I like to talk with clients and so on. And wait, what again was the question?
And what were the benefits? Like, do you see any benefits to your career?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I see it now. But also the fact that I got to organize events, it made me understood that I would like to be like in an event organizing company, I would say. So I'm not right now there, but like I know I could be, because this is what I like. So I get to learn that, okay, I did this, I can do this. It's on my CV, so I could move forward on this career path if I would like to. So this is how it happened with my internship that I got. It's not in Estonia, it was in Berlin. I really enjoyed working with artists during my volunteering. So I put it down on the CV, and I got an opportunity for this internship to work in an artistic startup, where I got to connect the clients with the right artists. For example, like a band for a wedding, or a caricaturist for a birthday party, and so on. So I'm like, I worked with the artist, I know I like it, I'm gonna do an internship in that. So it's again, one leads to another, and your internship, if you want, you can connect it to your future career, because you can. But it doesn't necessarily mean, it just gets to know you. Okay, you did something, maybe you didn't like it, but at least you know you don't like it, so you're gonna move forward to another thing.
Yeah, I really like how you again built like the link between a volunteering experience to a follow-up interning experience. But I think the main message is anyways that you, as you said, you learn skills that you didn't know that you needed, and they're gonna come and play in to something else unexpectedly in the future. My last question to you today would be, is there anything you would recommend to the students listening regarding volunteering?
Yes. Volunteering is volunteering. It doesn't matter what you do. and where we do it and which organization you pick, because either way, wherever you go, you're gonna get something. You're gonna get the skill, you're gonna get the knowledge, you're gonna get the network, you're gonna get into a specific community. So you better choose also something that you enjoy doing too. Like, for example, I heard there's like an organization that is with kids. I forgot the name, I'm so sorry. It's in Teleskivi in Tallinn. So you like dealing with kids, you like to play with them, like talk with them, go ahead, So it's the same, like I knew I liked to organize, I knew I liked the international community, so I just went to an organization that had an international community, and again, I gained the skills. So wherever you go, you're gonna get the skills. Just choose something that you like doing too.
Thank you. I mean, I think your experience and your messages has been very inspirational, also to me personally. So thank you for finding the time to share your experience today with us. And to conclude our webinar in the last 5 minutes, I want to just tell the attendees what happens next and what are the other opportunities that you have out there within our project, but also wider. So just to show you here, is that within this project, we have been organizing these events like the webinar today, where we bring together organizations and companies and students, but also within the project, we organize trainings, these sort of 4-hour courses where you will get tips and tricks about how to enter the Estonian volunteering market, but also the labor market as such. So what is the local working culture, how to apply to jobs, what to keep in mind in interviews in the Estonian cultural context, and so on. And just for you to know that this year, the last training will take place on the 13th of December. My colleague will put the registration link to the chat as well, so you can fill that in to join us on Monday. But if that date doesn't work for you, don't worry, we will still be hosting some more trainings next spring. So these are a bit different from the events, as in there you have a professional trainer who will give you advice through a 3-hour session on how to find a job better in Estonia, basically. Then there was also a question that I got in chat privately about whether only these 3 organizations we've shown you today are where you could volunteer, and the answer is no. Estonia has a lot of non-profit organizations, a lot of foundations, and also different festivals like the Tallinn Music Week Festival, where they're constantly looking for volunteers. And the best way to approach these is through these first 2 links on my slide. There is this volunteers portal where different volunteering opportunities are listed. And then there's the Good Citizens portal that basically brings together different Estonian nonprofit organizations. So there you can find a list of nonprofits and foundations in Estonia. And basically, as we've heard today, the best way to approach them, unless they have an application subpage on their website, just send an email to the general address or somebody who's listed as a volunteer manager, and then ask them whether you could be of service or could you be a part of their team. So definitely the message is that there are other volunteering opportunities out there. Also on the slide, you can see again the links to our free speakers, the organizations that we had today. And as we mentioned in the beginning, to follow our project, you can go on this Facebook group called Unlock AMIF. And this is the group where we will keep on posting in spring about the next events and next trainings. So we will host similar webinars or perhaps even face-to-face meetings in spring with different organizations and companies. Also, the trainings will continue. And if you were really inspired about volunteering, then as I said in the beginning, we held a very similar event a year ago, also called Volunteer in Estonia. And there we had 4 speakers from different organizations from this network of Estonian nonprofit organizations. And then we had these organizations working with either animals, working also with less fortunate kids, or working with people with special needs. And so those organizations are still out there, they still exist. They still are always looking for volunteers. So even though this video is a year old, the information there is still relevant even today. So that is it from our side, from our team. Thank you again, Tuuli, Annette, Hele, and Eliza for being here today, sharing the opportunities that you provide and the experience that you've had in the past. I hope for the students that this has been a useful webinar. We also have a short feedback survey that we have circulated in the chat. It only takes 3 minutes to fill in, so that if you don't mind, I would ask you to also fill that in so we can make these events better next year. But otherwise, I hope you'll find a nice opportunity to volunteer, especially in the season of giving during the holiday season. So that is it from our side. Have a nice final push for your studies in December. Have a nice Christmas and New Year's holidays. Thank you for attending us.